So for more insight, it's a pleasure to welcome Marc Schulman, Editor-in-Chief at History Central and columnist at Newsweek. He joins us from Tel Aviv. So Marc, the big question is if President Joe Biden is going to run again. But in fairness, we do need to stress that these comments come from the US President talking about Easter eggs. It was a light conversational interview about the Easter egg hunt at the White House. So what do you make of the comments he made?
Look, I think he's interested in running. He will probably run, unfortunately, but he's not going to announce for a number of reasons. Number one, purely legal. The moment he announces the fact that he's running, then every trip he makes has to be looked at. Is it a campaign trip or is it a government trip? Right now, that's not a problem. If he goes to visit a factory opening somewhere in Michigan, it's the president doing his job. Once he's running for office, the campaign possibly has to pick up the price of that flight and everything related to it. Second of all, I think he wants to keep his options open. I mean, the man is 80. I mean, he looks in good health. There is no other candidate that's very clear. On the other hand, I look at my own parents at 80. They were fine. They were driving. They were working and everything else. Unfortunately, by the time they were 85, they were no longer with us. And it's an age that a lot of people have a difficulty with starting in the mid-80s. So to be president of the United States at that age just seems so unlikely, but it's going to happen most likely. I mean, this is the strangest situation because, like you said, there is no other clear candidate right now, and the Democratic Party does not want to go through a bruising primary fight. One of the interesting things that Biden has been good at is balancing the progressive and the moderate wings of the Democratic Party well. If they go through a major fight in terms of a nomination fight, that may be much more difficult. And again, if it's Trump, he feels that he can take on Trump without a problem, and he's probably right. If it's someone younger, I think he's in more trouble. So we'll have to see.
So Joe Biden, were he to choose not to run, who are the top contenders for the Democrats, and what has happened to Kamala Harris? Your thoughts?
Okay, so let's start with Kamala Harris, first of all. Look, unfortunately or fortunately for her, Kamala Harris has played the role of vice president. Vice presidents in American history, with very few exceptions, have sort of disappeared into the woodwork. It's a very known fact. It's considered in many people the worst job in Washington because all you get to do is be sent on ceremonies and you're not very important. Biden was a little more important to Obama. But remember, Biden came to the presidency, the vice presidency, excuse me, with years and years and years of experience with a president that had no congressional experience and didn't have as much experience. Here you have Biden with so much experience, and Kamala Harris, while capable woman, she doesn't have the experience to bring to the presidency that the vice presidency that Biden had. As to other contenders, I mean, clearly you have the governor of California, Newsom, who is the most outspoken, but as a white guy from California, can the Democrats nominate a white guy at the moment? I don't know. You have a number of women senators that might have some possibility. You have the governor of Michigan. That's a possibility. Most of these people probably would do much better in the next cycle. For instance, the governor of Michigan is relatively new at her job. I don't think it's a little bit early for her to run for presidency, but she would make an excellent candidate, I think. And there are others out there, but they're probably tier two. And because it's been clear that Biden is most likely going to be running, none of them have been doing very much to push their candidacy. Of course, we can't forget about Pete Buttigieg, the in charge of transportation, Secretary of Transportation.
Right.
Of course, he's being blamed for every transportation problem that exists in America, but he's also a dynamic person who could possibly run.
Well, it certainly will be fascinating to watch. And of course, on the Republican side, we also know Ron DeSantis is heading to Israeli shores in the coming weeks. Obviously, a lot of focus as well on Donald Trump and what will happen with his indictments, but we're going to have to leave it now, no doubt. We will be having many, many more conversations in the coming months. Marc Schulman,
No doubt.
Thank you as always, live from Tel Aviv. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Marc.
My pleasure.
Well, China is entering the